Good afternoon everybody, and a very warm welcome to Behringer. And this afternoon I have a layout update. Basically it's general knowledge is really the theme really. Just bits and bobs that I've been doing around the layout. Nothing too significant, just bits and pieces just dotted around the layout just to bring it all together. And so we're slowly but surely getting there. So we'll go over to the fill yard, which is the first bit, and then we'll wander around the layout. So here we are at the fill yard end, and the first thing you notice is that we have a number 11 now. That was the last set of numbers to be added. That was missing from the last one. So we now have a full complement of numbers all the way through from 1 to 14. And as you can see, that the fiddle yard is now loaded up. I'm still working on the formations in terms of getting the best out of what I have, but granted, I do have a fair amount of storage space compared to many other people, so I shouldn't grumble too much. My little pacer, my new pacer, is right at the very back, right in the corner there. You might get to see the top of it. It's on number 2 at the minute. But really I've just been playing about with formations and things like that really. I've got my test train here, and I've added a new one to it, and this is the one I did yesterday. And in fact I should just pull it right out of the way. As you can see, it's got my 57 on the front of it. So let me just pull it forward slightly, and then you can have a sort of better look at it. So basically this is a network rail coloured GUV. Network rail do actually use GUVs, and in fact Hornby have got them out. Well, did have them out, but they're very difficult to get hold of. I think a lot of places are sold out, plus they're 25 quid. This particular little project took me an afternoon and it cost me nothing. So basically I already had everything. It was just literally a case of just applying the paint in the right sequences to get it to this state that you see it in today. The difference, if you look on Google and stuff like that for network rail GUVs, you will notice that actually all the windows have been blanked off on them, and also the doors are turned into shutters, but essentially they're GUVs, they're exactly the same, apart from those differences. But for me, this wasn't actually going to happen. The problem is that behind it, as you can see, is the mail train, and it's got this PCV on the front of it, or on the back of it, whichever way around you want to look at it, followed by this Batman TPO or something, whatever it is, and then this is just a standard a buffet intercity coach. This is just, it doesn't actually belong in the rake. It was actually been on here actually for testing purposes. In fact, it was actually been in amongst this lot, because it's basically the purpose of my test train has changed actually since I said how I was going to use it, so I'll explain that briefly. But basically this particular GUV was pretty much the same as this one here, except it was a blue one. It was a blue express parcels one. Now the reason why I took it off the mail train is because it was problematic. It was causing, and in fact that one here, this GUV here, might very well be repainted into a network rail yellow, the same as this one, because of this particular issue that I have with this particular coach. Now this coach is a brand new coach. Well, it was bought brand new. It was kindly given to me by my good friend Zub, and it's caused no end of problems in terms of the way it couples to all the rest of them, because this has got the new or the NEM couplings attached to it, whereas this particular GUV and the other GUV are both Lima GUVs, which basically means they've got the old style chunky coupling, as you can probably see there. And so because I'm trying to use my mail train as a push-pull, the couplings just keep riding over each other and then they keep derailing. So what I decided to do is I've decided that I'm going to take the two GUVs, probably that one as well. The reason why I haven't done that one is because that one is in better nick than what this one was in. And because I know that Network Rail have GUVs and they actually use them as support vehicles, that's pretty much what they use them. These particular Mark IIs were sort of used as radio survey train stuff, which carried radio equipment and stuff. I think it's just like to test communications along the lines and things like that. I think I was told. I could be wrong, but that's what I was told. But the actual purpose of why I'm using this particular test train has actually changed, and the reason why I'm now using this particular test train on my layout is, at the moment it's 3 coaches, but what I'm using it for now is I'm actually using it as a test train for myself and for this particular layout, Beringer and districts. So I'm not using it in sort of to try and recreate anything that is used in the outside real world with Network Rail as such. It's actually used as Network Rail on the Beringer districts layout. So basically I'm using this particular test train for running on my layout when I'm making alterations and stuff like that. So newly ballasted track, I'll test it with this train or whatever. I'm testing lengths of platforms, how many coaches I can get into a platform or whatever. I'll use this train again to do things like that. So I'm using it more for my own particular purpose. So I'm not particularly bothered in the sense of having the right coaches in the right formation as such. I mean, I've got the right coaches, but I mean, obviously the Mark IIs wouldn't really go with the GUV normally, but I'm using this, like for example, like I said, just to test my own layout. So as Network Rail would test the rail infrastructure themselves. So I'm just using it like that. That's how I'm doing it. I'm not particularly looking to match, oh look, the 57s didn't run with those coaches or something like that. It's just for me, it's quite good that like I said, if the trains are running operationally normally on my layout, then obviously I'll be using the standard stock that I've got knocking about. But like I said, this particular formation is going to be used really more like when I am making changes or whatever, or when I test points and clearances and things like that. This would sort of be the train that will be running on my layout just to do those things, and I'm just using it like that. And that's why I'm probably going to end up repainting this GUV into the yellow, just because I could do some more coaching stock, and because this is still running with the old Lima couplings, and all these coaches here, and the Mark IIs and the GUV have got all the old couplings on it. They'll all run together without any problems, whereas at the moment, because of this particular effort, as somebody would say, it's causing no end of problems. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up, like I said, I've got rid of one of the GUVs off of it, and I'll probably take the other one and probably buy a couple more coaches, but a couple of coaches which are like with the NEM couplings on them, and then I can permanently fix them and attach them together, and they should run better then, and then I'll have a proper mail train. Because at the moment I can't really run the mail train properly because it keeps derailing because of its incompatibility with the couplings. The problem is also this PCV has got the old style couplings as well, but the way it's put in, I was trying to look on the internet yesterday for Batman ones, and the Batman bogies are screwed in, and these are just plug fits. So I don't know if there's a way of converting this one to NEMs, because obviously I want to use this. So that's kind of covered this sort of area, and we'll move on to the rest of the layout. One of the other things I've been using the test train for is I've changed the PowerPoint from how this is run, because what happened is that the PowerPoint was taken from the other end of the layout, the Morwood end, and so now these two lines have been curtailed, and that was one of the reasons why I was using the test train. I was just trying to use the length to test to see how many coaches I could get in, to see if I can bring diesel units in here and all the rest of it, local hauled services I should say. But the problem is that because I've removed the track, there's now a break between here and Morwood, which there wasn't before, so now there was no power to these two lines. When I originally built Beringer, I'd actually was powering it from this point here. It's actually here you go. I was powering it from here, and basically it worked out that it was better that there was a time that it was working out better that I was powering it from the other end of the layout. So I stopped using the power from this end of the layout. But what I didn't do is I didn't remove the cabling. I left all the electrics down this end permanently down here anyway, in case I wanted to go back to it. And that's proved to be a real vital case, because this particular point here now diverges. The right line will diverge and go into the two curtail points at the Behringer station, and that means that those two lines are now powered from here. And all I had to do is just basically unscrew the wiring from the back of the controller and rescrew in the other two cables from this point here, which I'd left there. So it was a straightforward fix. More odd jobs include ballasting in the tunnel. The ballasting is now done in the tunnel, and again the test train's used there for clearances and checking the ballast and making sure it runs correctly and all the rest of it. So it's that kind of thing that I use it for, and it's nice and dark down there, so that's good. I've also done the inside of this particular tunnel as well. Just put some foliage in there, so basically that's bricked up. It wasn't bricked up before, you could still see the board before, so now that's been done. So that's another little odd job done. This particular board is just currently sitting here because I'm kind of looking at ways. I'm going to end up probably linking that board to the rest of the town scene at the other end via this piece of board, so this is going to end up being a new retaining wall. And eventually this particular platform will be wider to make it easier, because this platform's quite narrow, so I'm going to widen that as well. But again, that'll be a job for later on. But that was just a rough piece I had knocking about, and I just thought I'd just test the look of it. Some more work that's been done. A lot of it is some ugly work as well, just basically tidying up. Basically I've got this hook here and there's one down here, and that's basically just to wrap this cabling around, so when I'm not using the layout or not using the handheld bit, it's just tidy basically. And it's the same underneath here. All the wiring under here has just been tidied up and cable tied up, and there was some wiring from some of the points that I'd removed, and basically there was some excess wiring, so I was just basically backtracking all the wiring and checking to make sure that all the wiring that was here was actually necessary under the layout for whatever was left basically, and all the unnecessary wiring from points that have been removed, and that the wiring is all labelled up so I know what the wiring is. So that's another job that I've been up to. Like I said, inside of the tunnel mouth has been done. Not quite sure if I showed you that. The advertising has also been done. Oh, there we go. Right. And also, like I said, I put some foliage along here and some more advertising here. I've just tidied up this side, and I've also done the ballasting. That was the other thing I wanted to do. There's a bit of rock here that needs to be painted up, which I haven't got around to doing. But basically now I've done the ballasting here. I haven't used the sleeper grime on it yet or anything like that, but I have tidied it up. So now it's all kind of, it's just tidy now. So that's really, really good. And also along here. So now, I mean, obviously there's still more work to do along here, but at least it's kind of all married up now. I mean, I haven't done the other end of Moorwood Station yet. That's something I need to do, but I need to check out a couple more clearances and things like that, which again, that'll be test train will be out for that, so I need to bring that round just to check that as well. But basically, it's at least now it looks done now, so I'm really pleased, and it all works. So if you just sort of go around and round and round and round and round and round and round, it's all looking pretty decent. So yeah, I'm happy with all of this. So that's all these little odd jobs that have been done, and that just improves the appearance of the layout quite dramatically. But anyway, I will love you and leave you. I'll leave it there because that's a fair amount that I've spoken about today. Any more information I will let you know. So thanks for watching. Feel free to comment and subscribe as always, and I will speak to you soon. Bye for now.